Blocks away.
How long are we gonna wait for this guy?
We won't wait long. Roxy's not about to let 20 keys of blow stay in that trunk much past dawn. What is going on here?
I'll go check it out.
Cowboy Bob's knocked out cold.
What is this?
I don't know, but it's sure not Roxy.
Oh, no, but Dad is.
Hello, officers. Lovely night for a cattle drive, don't you think?
I do not believe this. I want to know who the hell this guy is and who let him in here.
Hey, so we're blown. We've been blown before. Hey, what's this?
It's a bomb! Everybody back!
Freeze! Miami Vice!
In the city with neon glows, where the palm trees sway and the rhythm flows, there's a podcast that's breaking all the codes. It's the Vice of Miami. Here's the story it unloads. Here's the story it unloads.
Welcome to the Voice of Miami podcast. I'm your host, Mark, alongside my co-host, Tim, and we're thrilled to take you on a journey through the iconic 80s TV series, Miami Vice. Each episode, we're going to delve into the gripping world of detectives Sonny Crockett and Rico Tubbs and the entire Vice team, reviewing every episode and uncovering the dark storylines, unforgettable guest stars, and the electrifying music that turned Miami Vice into a cult classic. From trivia and fun facts to the occasional goof, we're here to provide a fresh and engaging perspective, whether you're a longtime fan or new to the series. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we explore Season 4, Episode 12 of Miami Vice, The Cows of October.
This episode was written by Ed Zuckerman, directed by Vern Gilliam. The original air date was February 5th, 1988, and it is the 80th episode overall in a series. And our plot for this episode is a cowboy's plan to improve his cash flow by selling bull semen ensnares Vice, Cuban agents, the federal government, and Izzy, who adds great comic relief and wheeling and dealing.
And covering the guest stars and the co-stars. First up, we have Harry Julius Shearer, born December 23rd, 1943 in LA, California. Harry Shearer is an American actor, writer, comedian, and voice artist. He appeared as FBI agent Timothy Anderson. Shearer started out as a child actor, appearing in the movies Abbott and Costello Go to Mars and The Robe, and also the TV series Death Valley Days, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and the pilot Leave It to Beaver. After appearing in Alfred Hitchcock Presents in 1957, he would not return to film until 1976, during which time he attended school at UCLA and Harvard before doing a comedy club, The Credibility Gap, from 1967 to 1976, after which he left to begin writing for the TV show Fernwood Tonight and the film Real Life with Albert Brooks. He wrote for Laverne and Shirley, Saturday Night Live, and in 1989 he accepted his most famous role, that of Ned Flanders, as well as Mr. Burns, Principal Skinner, and others in the animated series The Simpsons. Harry Shearer married Penelope Nichols in 1974 until their 1977 divorce, and in 1993 he married songwriter Judith Owen.
Next up, we have Garrett Graham, born November 27, 1949 in New York City, who's an American actor who appeared as Calvin Teal. Graham has had a long career in acting with over 100 credits to his name, as well as writing the song Victim or the Crime for the Grateful Dead. TV appearances included Starsky and Hutch, The Rookies, Dallas, Sledgehammer, among several others. His latest TV appearance was Au Par 3, Adventure in Paradise, which is a 2009 movie. Movie filmography includes Greetings, Pretty Baby, Home Movies, among others. His latest movie appearance was 2008's Stick to Detroit. Nothing was listed for his personal life, however.
We have Gino Silva appearing as Rojas, a Cuban intelligence agent. Movie appearances include Mean Dog Blues, Scarface, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and Tortilla Heaven, among some titles. Sylvia passed away on May 9th, 2020, at the age of 72.
And finally, we have Martin Ferraro returning as Izzy. It's always great to see him again, and as you'll find out, he offers great comic relief. For our co-stars, we have Haywood Galbraith as a policeman, Marilyn Laudiado as a chemist, Felton W. McCorkle as Jerome, Ana Menendez as an assistant, Roxy Rapp as O'Connor, Renee Rock as Paco Hermosa. And for some Miami Vice in the news, actor Harry Shearer will appear as Derek Smalls in Spinal Tap 2, with a release date set for late spring or early summer of 2025, and it's going to be directed by Rob Reiner.
Original Spinal Tap was awesome. Absolutely awesome. A cult classic. He was the bass player. Or begs the question, are we going to do Stonehenge? No, we're not going to do bloody Stonehenge. All right, let's get into discussion for Cows of October. We opened to the Vice team on a stakeout to watch a drop of 20 Keys of Blow by somebody named Roxy. I would assume it's a female, but it ends up not being a female. And this whole thing is set in, I thought it was just a stable or a farm next to an airport, which was kind of odd, but it turns out it's an agricultural export area of an airport, I guess, where cattle and stuff go to quarantine. I have no idea. But anyway, that's where they are. They've got herds of cattle in their pens, and they got, a medium-sized jet, kind of like nearby there. So they're just sitting here waiting for this drop to happen. And Crockett and Tubbs are, pretty much within earshot of each other. And Switek here, he's in a pen full of sheep. And
goats too.
Yeah, you know what? I'm surprised he didn't crack wise about wanting to catch some Z's. With all these sheep, how they say count sheep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm surprised they didn't do that. They missed out. But anyway, a car pulls up. They think the drop went down and want to get Roxy a few blocks away. When all of a sudden, a stampede of cows happens, causing Crockett and Tubbs to pretty much jump on top of some hay bales. After the dust settles, so to speak, we see someone named Cowboy Bob laying on the ground next to a truck passed out, and then a container next to him starts, steaming and starts hissing. Everyone hits the dirt thinking that it's a bomb.
So now we're at the lab where Switek and Tubbs are informed that the contents in the bomb could cause an explosion in the cow population. It's cow semen, or actually more to the point, bull semen. This Cowboy Bob was later identified as being a one Calvin Teal, and he's trying to be stopped by officers from barging into the lab wanting his property. He even calls Switek buckwheat. He's going ballistic on them defrosting his Gargantua product. He named his bull that because of his equipment. He gets $100,000 per container and was selling it to a buyer from Belize when one tank was stolen and Vice ended up melting the other.
At OCB, the Vice team here is meeting with Tim Anderson, who was an agent from Washington. They didn't really say which department he was from, FBI, CIA, or agriculture. They just said from Washington. I'm guessing agriculture maybe, because if it was FBI, they'd probably have more than one guy. I don't know. Whatever. So anyway, this quote-unquote department is anxious to get the other container of the product recovered, and then Castillo informs Vice that they're pretty much the government liaison now. Now they're babysitting the baby bull. What's that?
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Why? First, they're babysitting frozen bodies, Legba. A.K.A. Cooper and Switek, they're at some farm somewhere, and they're being educated on cows and how to work with them and the diseases. And as this farmer is explaining all this, Switek is obviously getting a tad nauseated. And also how to check a cow for pregnancy. And this farmhand comes up and presents, a pair of medium-sized gloves to Switek. And if you notice, they're a little bit too small to go in depth for checking for a female for pregnancy. If you watch Dr. Pol, you know what I'm talking about. You need a glove that goes up to your shoulder and then some, because you're rotor-rootering these things when you're checking for pregnancy. So
again, the comic relief of this episode. So now we're back at OCB where the work continues, and good old Cal is chatting with Gina and Trudy, and Crockett asks, why doesn't he just get more juice from his bull? Well, I think this is quite funny, so just listening to it does its own comedic justice.
What you got there, family photo?
It's Gargantua.
It's Calvin's bull. You want to see it?
I've seen Calvin's bull.
Hey, man, this is the finest bull I ever had. Keyed him a whole operation.
Well, they only lost one tank. Why don't you just go on back there and get a fresh supply?
He's dead.
Natural causes?
Oh, he was servicing a heifer and he stepped in a hole, broke his leg. I had to sell him for slaughter.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like stepping gopher holes on you in a farm, huh, Tim?
Twisted his ankle. There's a prairie dog hole at a fire. Prairie dog hole at a fire. Oh, this should be aggravated arson because of that.
We're good.
That's what he said.
Whatever. Meanwhile, at a park out in Miami, Tubbs, Switek, and Teal here, they go to look for Izzy, and he's just selling bullwhips along working to get the goods on some lady he's dealing with who wants to buy this bullwhip, trying to get her phone number with his partner Manny. He's just a nondescript park, just selling bullwhips. It's not like a festival or nothing, whatever. But anyway, nearby, a man named Rojas is taking pictures and communicating that he's got the Texan under surveillance. And Izzy is talking to the group here, said that there's someone that deals with artificial insubordination, and he can speak with them about the semen and is going to contact the trio, where to find the other container. This was after Switek was blackmailed, after Switek blackmailed him about having info on where a certain parole officer might want to know where his wife spends her nights, implying with Izzy.
So now Izzy brings the seller, Paco, to a marina where Switek busts him. Then as a rather inept Anderson comes out as well, shots are fired. Paco and the shooters escape, and Rojas leaves Anderson a pink cigar on his car hood. At OCB, Anderson discloses that Cuban intelligence is after the semen from miniature cows, which caused the team to just bust out laughing. But we don't see Marty joining in the laughs. He wasn't really in this episode much.
No, I think they just showed it the back of his head when everyone else was laughing.
Anderson says that the U.S. wants to be at the forefront of this business. He further explains that the smaller cows use less acreage for almost the same amount of milk produced.
So along the streets here now, driving along, Cal is in the van with Switek, and he's explaining about the importance of every container of the product and how much money each container could rake in. And he jokes that it's a lot of moolah.
Yeah.
Pun intended. So now I think we're at Izzy's place here. It looks like Yoda's hut. It's not really an apartment. It's got that little adobe set vibe to it, the rounded corners and stuff.
Yes.
So Switek and Cal, they set up a meeting with someone named Hermosa. And this is while Izzy is playing around on a fake cow, like he's roping in or rustling. Cal here is willing to give $86,500 for the return of this juice. No questions asked. Switek here talks to Cal about lending him money for investing in the future, and all to make the deal a round number, because you don't want to deal with someone and say, I want $86,522. You nice round numbers, 100,000, $500,000, cool mil.
Yeah, I mean, you never see a guy offer a bribe, say, $72 in change. It's always $100, 10 grand.
Or 100,000. Oh, but see, yeah, Stan, I mean, all I got on me is 90 grand because You know, I didn't expect to get rolled in some strange city. I didn't prepare for it, or...
Yeah, well, I've got some savings I was going to put into mutual funds, but with the markets so crazy and all, I'd be proud to invest in the future of a better world.
No, I couldn't let you do that, see, because, well, I'd have to insist on one condition.
What's that?
And that's that your contribution entitles you to 5% ownership in Teal Enterprises. Because, see, I'd just soon that you got something for your money instead of just letting me have it, you know. And besides, if you're going to be standing behind me as an investor, I'd be honored if you was my partner, too.
Does this sound like this guy's selling him swampland in Arizona? So now we're still at Izzy's, and he invites Agent Anderson in and starts making a deal with him, until Anderson brings up some immigration issues of Izzy. Then Izzy flips and offers the deal with Hermosa for $200,000. Rojas calls Izzy and brings up the same immigration warrant issues to him. Anderson, hearing only Izzy talking, thinks Izzy is making a bigger deal for $259,000. Anderson gives Izzy the container, but only of regular cow juice.
So we're along the Miami River here. Izzy, still in his Western garb. I think it's called gaucho wear or something like that. But anyway, he goes to meet Rojas on his boat, and he's carrying the container in his hand. And all of a sudden, Anderson comes out of the bushes here and pops off around at the direction of Izzy and Rojas. A car pulls up, and Izzy is stuffed into it by some, I'm assuming, Rojas goons at this point, and takes off. And this was all under the watchful eye of Tubbs and Switek. And then Anderson calmly walks out of the bushes, and, you know, all is well, no problem here. And Switek and Tubbs are starting to get pissed off, wondering what the heck is going on.
So now we're inside some warehouse. We see Rojas and company having Izzy tied up and hanging upside down. Izzy's spilling the beans on how Anderson was setting them up. He was just a bag man. Rojas wants to know who else he's working for. Izzy spills the beans on the other tank, too. Rojas gives Izzy a briefcase full of cash that is wired to blow up should there be any deviation to the plans to get the other tank back.
And I also think it was wired as far as a bug, too, so they could hear what's going on. At OCB now, Cal brings some flowers to Gina and Trudy just to smooth them over, you know, butter them up, all while Crockett and Tubbs are shuffling some paperwork. And they're getting a little bit, Crockett and Tubbs here, they're getting a little tad jealous and decide to pull Cal's file. I'm assuming everyone's got a file. Huh? So now at Izzy's, he's trying to open up this rigged case. You know, he's got a little stick or something like that, trying to open it. Hopefully it won't blow up on him. While he's doing this, he gets a call from Paco just as he opens the case. Rojas and the thug, they're listening in on the wire, but it's breaking up. And then pay attention here. Izzy knows his bug, so he covers the case, I think, with the pillow, and it's got $300,000. He makes a deal with Paco for $275, all while Cal, Tubbs, and Switek are listening in as well to this whole thing. And also, guess who else is listening? Anderson. So the deal goes down.
In a comedic scene, Izzy is still in his Western garb. He's on the train tracks, complete with background music from the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he lights a cigarette a la Clint Eastwood. He sees a truck with Anderson inside on the tracks flash its lights. He signals back. Then he sees a car in the opposite direction nearby flash its lights, and he signals back again. This dance of Izzy's goes on. Switek and Tubbs are watching from the van. Anderson in the truck moves in. Paco is in the bushes right behind Izzy's and calls for him. Paco comes out, asks for the case. Izzy's still dancing. Paco takes the case and leaves with the container of sperm, too. Izzy's looking around for the container. Both Anderson and the car with Rojas inside pull up. Words are exchanged and a small shootout happens between Rojas and Anderson. They both drive off. Tubbs and Switek pull up, and Izzy says he should be martinized for preventing World War III. Izzy finally realizes the money is gone and asks Tubbs and Switek for federal witness protection that they can't give him.
So now back at OCB here, Crockett's reading off cases in states and divisions where Cowboy Cal is embroiled in. Switek is looking on, very worried. He drops and spills the pot of coffee, and he
Yep.
also starts reading off his aliases. Seems Cowboy Bob here is like Phil the Schill.
Bunko Division, Los Angeles. Bunko Division, Denver. Land Fraud Division, State of Louisiana.
Who's that?
Cowboy Cal, a.k.a. Chuck Teasdale, Clyde T. Rose, Calvin Tuttle.
Calvin?
Yeah. Sorry, Gina.
That miserable 10-gallon rat.
At Izzy's, he's frantically packing up when Cal shows up. He has a tank, and he says the others were all fake, and this one's the real deal, and wants to enlist Izzy to make a deal here. He calls Anderson and starts the bidding, pretty much getting the bidding war going. He also calls Rojas to make a slightly bigger deal on Anderson's behalf. Pretty much, it's phone tag, back and forth, a bidding war ensues, and then Rojas finally wins with a bid of $1 million when Anderson's like, yeah, I just can't do the government money for that. So Cal sets the time frame and place for Izzy to make the drop.
So now we're at some river, Miami River. Izzy's in a small inflatable boat. Rojas's thug is on the bridge. Rojas on the shore nearby, all in play to make the drop. As Izzy gets closer, a tugboat comes in along and blocks the small boat. Crockett and Vice are watching too. On the tugboat is Anderson and another agent who has Izzy blocked from Rojas's view and at gunpoint. Anderson says what Rojas doesn't know won't hurt him. They switch tanks. Izzy continues to Rojas. They make the exchange.
So now we're at Cal's hotel room. He and Izzy are celebrating with, glasses of champagne. Izzy pretty much wants his money and he wants to scoot out of there. But Cal pops a deal of a lifetime for him. He's got a deal with the Saudis worth at least $1 billion. And he has with him, he shows the signed contracts already for more of this product. Izzy kind of balks, but he's going to play ball. Cal gives him the contracts just as good faith, and he starts to hightail it as he's got to catch a flight to Dubai to meet with the Saudis. But he opens the door, and who's there? Crockett. Got his piece pulled too. Crockett here spills the beans about the particulars in the picture that Cal showed of Gargantua with a mini bull. They don't line up. Cal fesses up to the whole scheme here. Cal tries smooth-talking Crockett to let him go with the money, as what he did really wasn't illegal. Nothing, there was no harm, no foul. Nobody was really shysted except bad people anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Crockett ends up letting him go here, but not the money. Keeps the briefcase, like, all right, whatever, you keep it. Izzy tries to leave, but Crockett stops him. Izzy wants to deal in Crockett with this money, but Crockett says no. Izzy wants to see the money just before he takes it away. They open up the case, and then empty. They've been had. So later on, we see a Cal on a plane talking to a Japanese businessman in an Australian accent, going on about the same thing, but trying to get somebody else.
I'm beginning to smell a waitress on you, partner.
Yeah, well, this is going to go to the Fallen Policeman's Fund.
Look, let me just say goodbye to the boys. Franklin and Grant and all the others. I think I really got to know them well in the short time that we worked together. Please.
What time does his plane leave?
7.
Now, of course, in Alice Springs, we don't yet have the pressing need for the minicars because we've still got a lot of space. But you lot, when you take over in Hong Kong in another few years, why, I reckon you've got to utilise all the space you got. So, let's start the pilot project now, and then, another few years, you'll have a little herd of cows on every rooftop in Kowloon. Now,
So now we're going to go on to the ratings for this episode. IMDb gives it a 6.1. Mark, I definitely agree with this rating. Why is the OCB team involved with this case at all? A Southern con artist squeezes money out of Switek. Maybe it's the FBI, maybe not. And a Cuban intelligence officer who are after the semen of a supposed miniature cow that will save space and cost less to maintain. The reason I do not give this a lower rating is because Izzy was awesome with his wheeling and dealing, but ended up with zero money. I also love the music from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and The Magnificent Seven. Otherwise, this is really a rewrite of Phil the Schill. This one will end up on probably one of the worst scripts of this season. Mark?
Where do I begin? Bull sperm? I guess it's now Vice related. Babysitting some baby butter. They just so happen to land in this, so to speak, from a supposed coke deal that did go down without them, I guess. All right, Tim, it's a fine story. That's about it. It's just not Vice. It's definitely not Vice-centric. Like you said, it's a cowboy and western Phil the Schill type episode where this guy's conning everybody, and they bring in Izzy as well. That's a good comedic relief episode. Maybe that's why Castillo has a very limited role. Definitely not ripped from the headlines as far as I remember.
No.
But it did have enough international intrigue and conspiracy, albeit comedic. The much aloof Agent Anderson, in which Harry Shearer played his role very well. It's also a much more Izzy-centered episode, too. You see him playing every side available against each other. You needed a scorecard to kind of keep track. Your head was spinning in a million directions. It was a good break from his serious last episode of Rock and a Hard Place, but again, it's not Miami Vice.
No, it's not. But, just speaking of Izzy, I think this by far was his best wheeling and dealing. I mean, it was the best for him.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But like we were saying before we started, this could have been that Izzy and Noogie half-hour comedy spinoff from Miami Vice. This definitely would have been great in that. This, maybe the Izzy and Noogie and this thing meet up with Crockett and Tubbs and they get embroiled or something like that. That would have been perfect. In Miami Vice, not so much.
No. So now we're on to the music for this episode. First up, we have the theme from Red River by Dmitri Tiomkin, and that's when there was the cattle speed during the stakeout. The next one is Wagon Train from Red River by Dmitri Tiomkin, and that's when Switek and Teal are at Izzy's. Then you have The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly by Ennio Morricone, and that's when Izzy's meet with Paco at the railroad. And then I thought it was classic to really throw this one in, or the theme from The Magnificent Seven by Elmer Bernstein, and that's when Izzy and Teal meet with Rojas.
And we've got nothing really credited to Jan Hammer in this episode. All right, let's get into the goofs. Fun facts on locations. Our first location is Jose Marti Park at 351 Southwest 4th Street, Miami. And that's Izzy's Western show where he was selling his bullwhips.
And then we have one goof for this episode. During the failed exchange on the railroad tracks, the briefcase full of money can be seen sitting beside Izzy in one shot after Paco has already stolen it.
Our next location, 1052 Ocean Drive in Miami Beach. That's where Stan is heading northbound in the van, and this was reused footage from The Good Collar.
And our final location is the Kenmore Hotel, 1050 Washington Avenue in Miami Beach, and that was Teal's apartment interior.
Let's go over to trivia for this episode. Last episode, we asked you, when Crockett is talking to Tubbs on the phone, what words did Tubbs have for Crockett about marriage? And as we played in the clip in that episode, he said, our job has always been a bitch on the matrimonial state. Tim, what do you got for this episode?
For this episode, when Rojas reads Izzy's list of accomplishments, remember this is when he was tied upside down and then shifted into a chair a couple different times. What did he say was Izzy's full name? You can post your answers on this episode's Facebook post, or you can email us at miamivice@duck.com.
We are now at Mindful Music, where Tim and I would like to share a quick clip of a song in what we think will send some peaceful and inspiring vibes your way. With the show, as well as our own lives, we might have many issues or stressful times that we encounter. With our song choices, we can hopefully quiet the mind and make those issues less of an obstacle for your day. The song choice for this episode is Tough People by Drew Baldridge. It was written as an ode to everyone in this country who keeps moving forward in the face of adversity, such as natural disasters, personal health crises, and etc. So take a listen.
A tornado tore through a Midwest town. Wasn't nothing in its path it didn't take down, except the Baptist church and a ball field. Then they rebuilt. Talk about tough people. She was 4 years old when they got the news. It was in her little lungs, it was stage 2. Mama spent every night by her bed, and Daddy shaved his head. Talk about tough people. Yeah, there were plenty of times she could have gave up, but she didn't. Now she fought like hell till she rang that bell in Memphis. Good beats evil, and tough times make tough people.
Thanks to all of you for tuning into the Vice in Miami podcast. We hope you enjoyed our look into the world of Miami Vice. If you loved what you heard, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us out. Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and more Miami Vice goodness. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at the Vice of Miami podcast. Our next episode is number 86. We'll cover Season 4, Episode 13, Vote of Confidence. Until next time, stay stylish and keep the Vice alive. Now...
Your crime reports are paper thin, pal.